Hey everyone, Ryan here, or M&R Productions, with a review of a set that I feel like came out just yesterday. However, this set released all the way back in January of 2018, about 3.5 years ago. Set number 75208, Yoda's Hut, with 229 pieces and 3 figures there, Yoda, Luke Skywalker, and R2, who we'll take a closer look at here in a minute. This set, when released, retailed for $30 US, a pretty fair price at the time, and certainly one I wouldn't stray away from. However, if you want this set nowadays, it's going to cost you about $70, so it has gone up quite a bit in value, as have a lot of other sets for Lego Star Wars from the past years, so that's no surprise there. The box art on this, of course, takes place on Dagobah, so you can see some very nice details, including Luke's X-Wing in the background, not included in the set, of course, though, smaller set here. It's nicely packed with play features and such, which we'll take a look at. The side of the box does have the side box art, looks very cool, and then the back of the box shows the interior of Yoda's Hut, which is a really nicely fleshed out interior for such a small playset, and you just get different angles of the characters and the features and everything. Just like with practically any other Lego set ever, the unboxing experience is not all that exciting. Inside you'll find 2 separate numbered bags and an instruction manual. This is one of my favorite R2-D2 figures for a pretty obvious reason, and that is that he is different. He has so many dirt splotches on him to make him look more like he did on Dagobah than the normal R2-D2 character, so that is a huge upside about this figure. The downside, of course, being that it still falls in the same trap that the normal R2-D2 figures have, and that is that the dome piece is a slanted print. You can see, especially when we go to the side, how much more space there is from the bottom of the brick to the print on that side versus on this side. It's a little bit of a shame that that's still an issue quality thing for Lego, even into 2021 and beyond, very likely, when I'm filming this review. That obviously this set from 2018 was still an issue. It's sad because it puts a blemish on what is otherwise a pretty perfect figure. Up next, we have the very good-looking Yoda minifigure. This one saw a big change in the mid-2010s, and it has aged very well. The newer mold for him looks really good. Of course, they got the eye print with even his little white pupils there. He has a brown cane, and the torso print looks very good with all the details you would come to expect from a figure like this. So Yoda is really good, and really, I don't see how they would keep upgrading this figure into the future. This is about a peak Yoda minifigure to me. Same goes for the Dagobah Luke. I believe this is the second Dagobah Luke we have ever gotten, and the original came out in like 2003 or 2004 with the X-Wing and Yoda's Hut set, and that one was with a yellow skin tone. So this one, obviously about 14 or so years later, made a massive jump in quality. It looks so much better. I love the darker hair for him. I think his torso looks like a great print, and the tan actually works on there. It's not like a faded tan color as much as I've noticed on some of the other figures when they try to print tan on other colors for the brick. When it goes on that darker tan color with the lighter flesh tan color, it just works really well. Oh, and Luke does have 2 faces, so his second face is a meditation face. He's got his blue lightsaber, and you'll notice this apparatus on his back and going through his neck there with a clear piece. That is his backpack, or at least supposed to be his backpack. Doesn't look much like a backpack, but really the functionality of it is to hold the Yoda minifigure on there. So you can actually plop Yoda onto Luke there, and you can have Yoda, this is obviously Luke in training, running around on Luke's back like that. So it's a really nice addition to the Luke minifigure. You can obviously take that off if you want, but I think it does add a lot as far as the functionality, especially for kids in a playset like this. It just works, and that's what matters here. You're going to have a tough time maybe standing him on a table without being stood on studs, but if you find some studs to place him down, and there are studs plenty on the set, you'll be just fine with this. Let's talk about Yoda's Hut. This is not the most beautiful display piece you can buy, either for the $30 retail back in 2018 had you had the opportunity, or nowadays for like $70, $80 sealed online. There are certainly better options if you just want something to throw on your shelf and have it look good and be attention grabbing. That said, this certainly is like, you can certainly throw this on a shelf. You're more than welcome to. I just think there's better options. For play functions though, this thing is jam-packed. So Yoda can actually pretty easily fit through this big entrance at the front of his hut, which is nice. It's not really functional to like move him through there, but it is nice that it has the big opening. It makes a lot of sense. And then you can have Luke follow behind. Luke is going to be a little bit too tall to fit right in, but if you bend him down, he'll fit in. And that makes sense because it's Yoda's hut, not Luke's hut, and therefore Luke is a little bit oversized for it, which is kind of nice, very sensible. The rest of the exterior, though, outside of this main entrance hole, is very tree-like, obviously, so that looks really good. So you have the soul branch. You have a piece of string here from Lego, and you can actually have Luke hold onto this string, and what you can do is you can either just drop him by yourself yourself and you can just swing about like that. Kind of lame if you just do that. There's a better built-in functionality for it. You can actually take him. There's a little stud up here you'll see, and you'll notice this little lever action. You can place Luke on top here, right on that stud, and it'll push this whole lever thing down. And when you push down on this lever, obviously, it's going to push Luke up and away, and you'll see him drop down and swing with that rope. So it's not like the craziest, best feature ever, but it is a really smartly packed in feature because it's otherwise just a branch that would just be a branch of like the tree that Yoda's hut is kind of built into or whatever. I think it's a really creative and fun place to have that, so I think it works out rather well. You also have some smoke billowing out on the left side of the hut here. That's going to make sense as we get to the interior. You have a little porthole window essentially for Yoda to be looking out of if he's inside of his house. You can barely see him in there. And then you also have the entire opening at the back, which gives you full, easy access to the play features of the set, which is what you want to see. So you can actually pull these platforms away. These ones are on hinges, so they pull away really easily and open up all the way, so you get full access. And then if you are still struggling to access what you want to access, you can pull this entire section off, and you can actually, that's why the pieces at the front here, attach it to the front of the build. It's really cool that you have a little bit of modular ability to this set to move things around the way you want to move them. But with the fire inside of the hut cooking on the pot here, it makes a lot of sense that there is some smoke billowing out through the top of Yoda's hut. You've also got a pan on this little table. You even have a bed for Yoda, so you can actually take Yoda, get his carrot out of that little box next to his bed. I guess that's his breakfast ready to go, and lay him down in his bed. That's fun. An empty bottle behind Yoda, and there is more to the interior. You might think that's it. Like, it's pretty simple when you look at it surface level, but it actually does a little bit more. So you can lift up his bed and move it out of the way just to give you a bit more interior space to stand the characters wherever and do whatever you want to be doing. And then you also have this hidden compartment underneath the middle table. If you lift this up, you'll notice there's an entire storage space there, just about 3 by 2 studs in size, and you can actually take Yoda's cane or whatever and drop that in there. And that is a great place to store and hide that. And like I said, there's a little bit more customizability than you may expect with the set, so you could flip this whole thing around if you'd like, and then you have even more interior space here to work with your characters. So there are little things like that about the set which I think make it a premier playset for like 30 bucks. I mean, it's really good at that range. So there's more to this set still. I know, it's crazy. So if we close this back up, you obviously have this little stand here, which is holding like a levitating box. There's a couple different ways you can certainly imagine it being done if you're playing with the set. Personally, I don't like this current layout because it leaves this big gap when you close it up. That's why I always leave the jump thing on the back here. And speaking of the jump thing, let's put it to use. So have some problems with that sometimes. So maybe a slight downside is when you go to pull Luke off, that is going to pop off. Not a big deal, you just put it back on, but I could see kids losing that pretty easily. So this at the front here is a pretty obvious feature. You just stand Luke on there, and then you're going to push down on the front of this, and then he's going to jump off. It's pretty simple. It's an easy, intuitive feature. It's one that's like, you know, it doesn't work like the best, right? It doesn't send him flying 10 feet or anything, but if you're 8 years old, you're going to love the crap out of this little feature. So it works as I would expect. Last and honestly probably the least notable things about this set, there's a little light inside Yoda's hut that's supposed to obviously light it up. That makes sense. And then there's a snake included, a red snake. Honestly, maybe kids would get more enjoyment out of the red snake, but for me, it's just like something I have to keep track of. Overall, this is a really good Yoda's hut, especially for the $30 price range back in 2018. This is about as good as you can get for a playset for the price for LEGO Star Wars. It includes 3 really good and proper minifigures with the Dagobah R2-D2, Dagobah Luke, and a pretty standard Yoda. So this one's really good. I would totally recommend it if you're interested in it. For me, honestly, as a playset, it's like a 10 out of 10. There's just nothing bad to say about it. It provides value. It's got good figures. It's got a really good build with play features at like every corner. So there's just nothing really bad to say about this at all. So a really beautiful build. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. You can check out more LEGO Star Wars reviews on the end screen now.